What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I know that this is a little bit different of an environment than you guys are used to seeing me in. You guys are usually used to watching me in my race car or underneath it, but today we're in my apartment, and the reason for that is the coronavirus. Now, I don't want to talk about the coronavirus a whole lot. I know that the internet is chock full of coronavirus talk, and that is the last thing that we need. I'm not here for that. I'm here to provide some entertainment for you guys that will hopefully be a little bit of a distraction from the coronavirus, but I do have to touch upon it really quickly. I promise I'm going to make this super fast, okay? I want to let you guys know that the next couple of videos that are going to be coming out on my channel are all filmed before the coronavirus. These were all filmed in the beginning of March. And I waited a while to produce these videos and actually start publishing them for a couple of reasons. Number one, sponsorships. I was waiting to hear back from sponsors that we're working with on this build. Number two, I like to stay ahead of schedule when it comes to my YouTube channel because I like to guarantee you guys videos every single week, and it just is easier for me to stay on top of that strict schedule when I have my videos planned out way far ahead of time. And reason number three is because I wanted this build to be a very fast-paced build. I want you guys to be able to just keep up with it and watch the episodes back to back. I didn't want to spread them out amongst the next 2.5 months. Alright, that is it for the coronavirus talk. I promised you guys I would try to sum that up as quickly as I possibly could. Now, what I want to do today is something a little bit different that we don't usually do on here. I want to tell you guys a story. I told this story on my Instagram live about a week ago, and the comments were constantly rolling in. They were just like rolling and rolling and rolling the whole time that I was talking. Everybody seemed to love this story, and a lot of people suggested that I make it into a YouTube video so that they could hear it over and over again. So I figured I'd try it out. Hopefully you guys like this. Let me know if you do like this, by the way, because if you do, make sure that you comment below and like this video so that I know that you guys like this kind of content too, because the more that you guys interact with me and the more that you guys engage, tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like, the more content that I can put out and the better that it's going to be for your viewing purposes. Alright, so I figured what better way to kick off this new series and introduce this new build to you guys other than telling you guys how I got the car in the first place. It's actually a pretty entertaining story. There was no YouTube video about it because I was on the other side of the country when I bought the car. Oh my gosh, okay, so let me tell you. When I first bought this car, I was in New York working on a show for about a week, and then I had to work in Pittsburgh for 3 weeks immediately after that. So I was not in California, and I wasn't going to be in California for about a month, right? So I was on the phone with my friend Danny while I was in my trailer on set. You guys know Danny. I've had him on the channel several times before. I felt like I was having a really rough patch with my driving, and I knew that part of the problem was because I've spent so much time and money on my race car that I'm afraid to push it to the next level because I honestly just don't want to wreck it. And I know that that's a part of the sport, especially when you start pushing really hard, that you're probably going to hurt your car in some way, shape, or form. But I just felt like I couldn't get over that mental block, and I knew that it was mental. So I was telling Danny, I was like, you know, I really wish that I had a car that was just pretty stock, cheap, easy build, like angle kit, not super expensive, so that I could just like throw that car into a corner as hard as I possibly can, and if something bad happens to it, I'm not gonna feel that bad because it wasn't that much money in the first place, right? Because that's why people start off with missile cars, you know, because that's what they're supposed to be for. It's not supposed to be super pretty, like super expensive, all these crazy parts on it. Like, no, it's supposed to be a very basic build setup, you know what I mean? So I was basically telling him that I was thinking that I wanted to start looking for a missile car, and I just wanted to, you know, throw an angle kit on the car, throw some bucket seats in it, weld the diff, and start going to the track. And he was like, dude, I completely agree with you. It's probably really hard when you've spent a whole bunch of money on your car, you've spent all this time building it, like it was one of your first swaps, it's your first drift car, like of course you have an emotional attachment to it. I completely agree. So I was like, yeah, dude, like I wish that I could just find a cheap 350Z. Do you know that Danny called me back 45 minutes later and was like, dude, I found a super cheap, clean 350Z on Instagram. Do you want me to send you the link? This dude is selling it for 2,500 bucks. I was like, no freaking way. Oh my God, I literally felt like somebody had answered my prayers and just like dropped my solution in my lap. So I was like, oh my gosh. So I looked at the car on Instagram, I talked to the kid, I sent him a direct message right away, and I was like, hey dude, I really want your car. Here's the situation. I'm out of town right now. I'm not gonna be in town for the next month, and I know that you are not gonna hold this car from me because somebody's probably gonna snatch it up. So is there any way that you could send me a walk around video of the car saying my name in it, pointing out this, and that? You know what I mean? Like I asked him for specific things in the video so I can make sure that this was legit and it wasn't like a scam. He did exactly that. He sent me the video, and I was like, all right, perfect, dude. You know what? I'm gonna ask one of my friends to go and check this car out for me. Are you cool with that? He can come by today or tomorrow. Like, just let me know what your schedule looks like. He was like, yeah, sure, no problem. Let me know what his name is and like, we'll do the whole deal. So I was like, perfect. So Danny went over there the same day, checked out the car for me. He called me and he's like, dude, the car is super clean. Like, it's perfect. It's like mint condition, but it just needs an oil pump. The kid said that the oil pump went out when he was down the street from his house. So he turned off the car immediately, pushed it home, and the car has been sitting ever since because he doesn't have the tools or knowledge to replace the oil pump on the car. But Danny looked up how expensive the oil pump was. He said it was like $250, and I was like, dude, we could totally do an oil pump. And he was like, yeah, absolutely, it'll be a piece of cake. So I was like, all right, cool, let's freaking buy it. So I sent Danny the $2,500 right away, and I was like, dude, go pick up that car. So he's like, okay. So I messaged the kid and I was like, hey, dude, I really want your car. My friend is gonna come back tomorrow with the money. I just sent him to him right now. What time are you available for him to come and pick up the car from you? So Danny goes back over to this kid's house the next day, right? And he's like ready to buy the car. He's got the $2,500 in his hand cash, ready to go buy the car from the kid. So when he gets there, of course, he does the usual like Craigslist kind of deal. Like, hey, do you like, what's the lowest you can take for this car? The kid's like, the lowest I can take is $2,500. And Danny's like, well, how can I get the car for $2,000? So the kid tells him, I'll keep the exhaust and you can have the car for $2,000. So immediately Danny calls me and he's like, hey, this kid says that he wants to just keep his exhaust and you can have the car for $2,000. And I was like, I don't really feel like finding an exhaust for the car, so I just want to get this car running right away. So I want the exhaust, just give him the $2,500. That's it. That's the only negotiation that was made. So the kid and Danny do the whole transaction. Danny gives him the money, the kid gives him the pink slip and the keys. Danny obviously can't drive the car from the kid's house to my dad's house, which would be ideal because the car has a bad oil pump. So if he were to drive the car's engine would probably explode because it wouldn't be getting any oil, right? So I told the kid that I would have a tow truck sent there by the next day at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. So he was like, okay, yeah, sure, no problem. Great doing business with you. I was very appreciative of the fact that this transaction was so seamless for me being on the other side of the country at the moment. So Danny leaves. He has the pink slip and the keys. The tow truck driver is going to get there the next morning by 12 o'clock in the afternoon, drop the car off to my dad's house like I asked him to. Call it a day. Everything should be great, right? So Danny goes back home. He calls me. He's like really excited about the car. We're both talking about it back and forth, right? Danny's like, is there anything else that you want me to do with this whole thing? Like, where do you want me to put the pink slip and the keys? Like, what would you like me to do? I was like, dude. So I was like, is there any way you can see if you can help me register this car under my name somehow? So he was like, yeah, sure. So we did research. We tried to figure it out. We figured it out in like a day, right? So obviously I couldn't register the car in my name in California because I was all the way in New York and I wasn't coming back for about a month. So I don't like waiting to register a car under my name for a long time just because people are sketchy, okay? You can't trust people. So I asked Danny if he could help me try to figure out how to register this car in my name. It actually wasn't that difficult. We figured it out in a day. So then Danny was like, okay, everything's done. What do you want me to do with this pink slip? Because I don't want to lose it. I was like, could you just drop it off at my dad's house in the mailbox? We have one of those like old school mailboxes where the mail just like falls straight to the floor inside the house. So then the next day, Danny goes over to my dad's house to drop off the pink slip and the keys in the mailbox, and he parks behind my new car. And he notices that my new car no longer has an exhaust on it. So Danny calls me up and he's like, Bree, there's no exhaust on this car. And I was like, what do you mean there's no exhaust on the car? He's like, the exhaust is gone. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I thought maybe you talked to the kid. There's no exhaust on this car. I was like, no freaking way. This kid just took the exhaust off of this car before the tow truck driver got there and let the tow truck driver take it because he had no idea. Ugh, so I freaking messaged the kid, right? And I was like, dude, where's my exhaust? He's like, oh, the car wasn't supposed to come with the exhaust. Danny said that I could keep it. I was like, no, we were on the phone when this whole transaction was happening, and Danny said you could keep the exhaust if we got the car for $2,000, but we didn't get the car for $2,000. We gave you asking price for the car, which was $2,500, so the exhaust was supposed to stay on the car. Well, I wasn't supposed to sell the car with the exhaust in the first place. I forgot to mention that in the ad. No, because I asked you to send me a video of the car with my name in the video, and I asked you to point at specific parts, and the exhaust was one of the specific parts that I asked you to point at on the car. So you can't tell me that you were trying to sell me the car without the exhaust, because the exhaust is in the video and you mentioned it in the video with my name on it. So it's supposed to be on the car. It's not supposed to come without the exhaust. So then he's like, well, I was just gonna give you a stock exhaust and I was gonna keep that one because that one's expensive, so I was gonna sell it. I was like, no, I don't want a stock exhaust. I want the exhaust that was supposed to be on the car in the first place. And he's like, well, It was only hanging on the car by the hangers. It wasn't even bolted up. Dude, don't mess with me right now. So then I had to get really serious with him, and I was like, honestly, dude, let me tell you something. Either you can cooperate and we can do this the easy way, or we can do this the hard way, okay? Let me break this down to you. You sent me the video with my name in the video, pointing out the specific parts on the car that I asked you to point out, right? So you did that. The exhaust was on the car. Danny comes to your place with the cash in hand. Is there any way that we can get this car from you for $2,000? The kid said, you can have the car for $2,000 if I keep my exhaust. I said, nope, I don't want to have to go through the trouble of finding an exhaust for this car, so don't do that. Let me keep the exhaust, give him full asking price, give him the $2,500, call it a day. That was the only negotiation that we ever tried to make with this kid whatsoever, and we gave him the full asking price at the end of the day anyway. So then what happens is Danny gives the kid the $2,500, the kid gives Danny the pink slip and the keys. A tow truck driver gets there the next morning by 10:30 to pick the car up. That means that between the time Danny gave the kid the money for this car, the kid handed over the pink slip and the title, the window between when the kid handed over the pink slip and the tow truck driver getting there the next morning is when this kid took the exhaust off of the car, right? So the car was mine at that point because the pink slip was in our possession. We had already paid him for the car. So the car was mine. You just stole my exhaust off of my car. So I don't want to hear your crap. I need you to give me my exhaust back before we have to take this to another level. I'm trying not to blow this out of proportion, right? So we literally, I go back and forth with this kid forever. He's lying to me, telling me, oh, I have a stock exhaust for you. I'm going to give you the stock exhaust and I'm going to keep the modified one. Nope, I want the one that was supposed to come on the car in the first place. Give me that one. I don't want to hear your crap, right? So we're going back and forth with this kid, trying to get the exhaust from him. At the end of the day, what ends up happening is we go back and forth with him for probably like a day or two, and then finally I convinced the kid to leave the exhaust outside of his house so that Danny could just go by and pick it up within a certain time frame. Whew, that story literally gets me heated just talking about it. I left out so much detail because I'm literally just trying to get to the point and provide a little bit of entertainment for you guys along the way. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure that you let me know in the comment section below, and maybe I'll upload another video like this. I can tell you guys the story of how I got the race car. I can tell you guys the story of this whole DMV situation that I'm dealing with the demo car right now, because it's getting a little complicated, and I'm having a lot of trouble with the DMV, just like actually getting this car completely registered in my name now. So that's a whole nother story. But like I said, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you let me know in the comment section below. Make sure to give it a thumbs up so that I know to continue uploading videos like this along with my regularly scheduled content. This is just literally going to be more and more uploads for you guys. So if you like this video, be sure to let me know. If you have made it this far, I just want to thank you so much for watching. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. I will see you guys in the next video. Make sure you tune in for that one because that's going to be the introduction to the demo car build. I'm super excited for that, and this new series is gonna be a whole nother level. I'm so excited for it. I can't wait for you guys to see it. So I will see you guys super soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.